Hey guys, welcome back to more AFK Arena. In today's video, I wanted to discuss the Awakened hero priority. Now, this isn't going to be a, you have to do this. This is more of a discussion. I'll go through who pretty much general consensus amongst the community is like the #1 choice. And then I'll go through the gray area that is after that, where a lot of people have differing opinions. Talk about the strategy on saving tickets if you want to, and stuff like that. So first of all, I have to give two big shout outs. One to Vicksin and one to Zero. I'll leave both of their channels in the description. Go show them some love. Both really helpful with perspectives on this stuff. So back in the day, I used to always like Solus, but the more we look at the game, we're pushing higher deficits. We keep getting better characters. Solus is getting harder. She's still amazing early game. I still think a copy of Solus when you're in chapter 16 or a copy of Brutus are both very valuable. But when we look at actually fully investing and building a character, I think just about everyone now has the same consensus that Awakened Belinda is probably the strongest. She dominates everywhere in the game. She can be used in campaign, even though we don't really focus on campaign, because once you get clear chapter, what is it, 35 or 36, and get Dual Divinity, that's pretty much it. If you want to clear chapter 40 to get all of the Misty Valley rewards, that's another thing. But in general, it really drops off because the amount of rewards you start getting from Cursed Realm, Treasure Scramble, and also now the new Nightmare Corridor. So those are the three most important modes. Keeping in mind, in Nightmare Corridor, in like the boss fights, you can mercenary one character, whereas in Treasure Scramble, you have to use your own characters. So to me, that puts a little bit more weight on the ones that are really strong in Treasure Scramble. That is just me personally. So when we look at it, like I said, I feel like Belinda is the strongest. Now, as always, on my account, I'm going for Athalia because I like Athalia. Belinda, even though she's the strongest, it's sort of a boring-ish playstyle to me. She just sits there and nukes, and it's... I mean, some may enjoy that. Me, I'm not a massive fan of it personally. So I'm going for Athalia on my new account. I'm trying to play this account pretty optimally, but that's the one thing where I made some leeway. Now, when we look past Awakened Belinda, that is where it gets gray area and a lot of people have differing opinions. I think for everyone, Awakened Taylene and Awakened Aziz are both down the very bottom. Like they're far below, but everyone else is fairly close-ish to each other. I think there's sort of, if we were doing it in tiers, I'd probably say there's probably 2 tiers after the Belinda for me. And so say if Belinda was S tier, I'd say that A tier would consist of Athalia, Baden, Matria, and honestly, Sophia. Sophia is a bit too early to say. I know a lot of people thought she was horrible at the start, but honestly, Sophia, I'm seeing her in every Treasure Scramble at like top 1 or 2. She's being used in bosses everywhere. She's really good in campaign, even though, like I said, I don't weight that too highly. And she is a great support in, like I said, Treasure Scramble and boss. Like, she's just good. I think she's just good. I could be wrong on that. Too early to really nail in on her, but I think she's great. So that would be like my A tier, and then the B tier would be Awakened Solus, Brutus, and Thane. That would be my personal. Like I said, you could probably put Brutus and Solus up a bit. I don't know. And this is where I wanted to discuss it because it is a massive gray area. And the one thing I want to say is, even though most people would agree now that Awakened Belinda gets you the most resource gain because of all the modes she dominates, if you're building another character, if you're building Baden, Matria, Thalia, Sophia, Solus, or Brutus, or Thane, if you're building any of them at the moment, you have them at like Mythic Plus, just finish them. Don't be like, oh, Vulcan said that Belinda's the best, I should stop building them. If you're that close, like I said, they're all pretty good. Just go ahead and build them out and then move to what you want. Now, the next thing I wanted to move on. So like that's the way I look at it. An actual priority list, it's too hard for me to say. I think probably second priority for me personally would be Athalia, because she does dominate in the PvP type modes. She's also good in basically everywhere. Baden is very similar, but Baden's strength is more in bossing than in the Treasure Scramble. And like I said, you can murk him if you have to, if you've already got a Belinda built. Matria kind of does need other Hypergenes built, like Olgath or something like that, but you know, that's another thing, another whole topic in itself. And Sophia, I think she's especially good. The one thing that Sophia lacks is carry capacity. The other reason I like Athalia personally is because she gives me a really solid carry for the Celestial Tower as well, whereas otherwise my account would have absolutely nothing to go there. So that's what I'm looking at. Solus still amazing. I think Solus and Brutus are probably the two highest value characters to have one copy of when you're like, when you first unlock it, or if you pull them early on. But then as we get into higher ascensions, Solus does scale well. Like every upgrade you get is going to be nice for campaign pushing, but she just doesn't have that impact in the other game modes that these bottom, all these characters down the bottom have from what I've been seeing. Brutus is a bit more niche as well. Really strong character in general. I love him, but I also think one copy of Brutus is also really good in a lot of situations, and you don't 100% need him maxed out to get value out of him, so he's not a bad one copy. So that's my thoughts on that. But the next thing I want to talk about is going to be the strategy behind getting these guys. So what I would recommend doing is saving up your time cards. Now, if you're dead set on a character, like I'm dead set on Athalia on this account. Even if something new comes out that's better, I want to do Athalia on this account. So that's what I'm doing. So if you're doing that, whenever you get time gazers, like I buy my 500 cost ticket every day and I pop it instantly because I'm trying to get her to Mythic and I need one more copy. But yeah, if you're dead set on a character and you don't care, just like always go for it. But if you're trying to like, you know, min max to the absolute limit and choose the best, even though Awakened Belinda is currently widely considered the best, I would suggest saving your time cards, because let's say, you know, something comes out that absolutely destroys Belinda, maybe the next Graveborn. Well, if you've been saving and you've saved up to like 400 cards, you can just, as soon as an Awakened hero comes out that is the meta, you can just go get them and then you're set, as opposed to chasing the tail of the meta, where, you know, back when Solus was heavily the meta, if you're summoning for Solus, Belinda comes out, she absolutely dominates everything. Summoning for Solus, you know what I mean? So I think saving up 400 to 500 Time Gazer cards is not a bad idea. Now that leaves a gap when we have the events with every new Awakened hero where you get discounted summons for 60 summons. You obviously get the 50 free, it doesn't matter, but you get 60 summons worth of discounted ones, which essentially gives you 12 free summons. Now I think it's also a viable option to skip those events and hold them. Otherwise, you can just pump them in. It's up to you. The way I look at it is, say you had to wait through 4 Awakened heroes. If you're doing that, then effectively what happens is, if you skip those 4 events and you go for the 5th Awakened hero, if you skip those 4 events, you've lost out on 48 summons, which isn't even a guaranteed Awakened hero. But if you've done that, you've also saved yourself 200 summons that you would have otherwise put into a character that may not be the new hero that's meta. So you're sacrificing a total 48 to get a bonus targeted 200 summons. And I think that is actually a viable option, even though you are net missing out on options. If the new meta character comes out, then you're all set. Now, this is all a risk. It's, you know, your own tolerance, because if you do that and then they just never release a character that matches up to something like Belinda, well, you could have had that Belinda going and stuff like that. So there is no one right answer to it. I just want to have this discussion, but essentially for me, I used to always be on the Souls bandwagon. Now, when we look at the game, where you look at your big resource income being the boss modes and the treasure scramble, Belinda just shines absolutely everywhere. And like I said, if I had to put this in like a tier list format, Belinda would be S, Baden, Matria, Athalia, and probably Sophia would be A, and then these 3 would be B. But it's not like a massive discrepancy between them. It's not like night and day. It's not like Taylene and Aziz, who are like just flat down the bottom. You know, all these guys are close. Like I said, if you're building one, go ahead, finish it, and then move to the next, or go ahead, finish it, and then maybe start saving. Save up, get that 400 to 500, and then away you go. So That's my current thoughts. Sorry for a bit of a ramble. I just like this is one a lot of people have been asking me since I've started streaming more. You know what to go for. I will do an updated one on Celestial Hypergenes and stuff like that because that is another very interesting discussion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like I said, I am not right on this. I just wanted to have the discussion. I'm not saying this is what you must do. I just wanted to get you guys my thoughts, bit of a state of what's going around, what I've heard from other players, and sort of collate a bit of information. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think. What's your priority, and do you care about priority? Are you just going for like what you like? And if you are, what are you pulling for? Like me, I'm getting Athalia because I just like her playstyle. She's pretty savage and I really like her in PvP. So that's pretty much it, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.